CaringCareersStartHere.com. Providing connections to the lives of aging Minnesotans by helping people discover careers in caregiving. More information at CaringCareersStartHere.com.
I go through caregiver's guilt about every day. Your emotions are up and down. It's like a roller coaster ride. So the decision to get my own apartment was a tough one. As a caregiver, you have to have your own breathing space.
Hi, I'm Melissa Fritz, host of Inside Senior Living. As a senior living consultant during the COVID pandemic and a daughter who lost her father to Alzheimer's dementia, my inspiration for this work comes from a deeply personal place. I've seen firsthand the challenges families face when navigating the complexities of aging. Over the years, I've dedicated myself to equipping older adults and their families with the information and resources they need to make the best decisions, whether that means receiving care in their own home or making a move to a senior living community. And as we all age, this need is only going to grow. That's why we're on a mission to spark conversations, support caregivers, provide valuable resources, and promote a more age-friendly world. Meet Cami, a woman in her 60s who's juggling the intense demands of caregiving for not just one, but two loved ones. Her mother, Donna, is in her 90s and has been in hospice for over a year. On top of that, Cami is also the primary caregiver for her partner, Bob.
I had the best childhood ever. I was an only child and I lived with my mom and my grandpa, only about 3 blocks away, so I grew up in this community. My grandpa spoiled me so bad. I never had to walk to school in the rain. I never had to walk to school in the snow. The car was always heated before we got into it. We were a close family. We still are a close family. My aunt, my mom's sister, my auntie, my cousin who cares for my auntie, her daughter, we all grew up together. And at one time we all lived in the same house. I believe there was 9 of us when I was a baby. All of us, my mom's brother, his wife, we were all living in the same house. My childhood was really, really special. Tell me about your mom. My mom is an incredibly strong woman. She raised me on her own with her father, and it took courage. My dad was an alcoholic, a charming man, an alcoholic, and she came back in 1958 and was pregnant with me. And I have thanked her so many times for giving me the life that I was brought up in, with the stability and the love and compassion that I had.
I got a cashiering job, and I was there for 16 years until they closed. My Aunt Vi, who was out in California, in Los Angeles, she called and asked what I was doing, and she says, "Well, can you come out here? Come out here. I'll pay your way to come out and help me with my patients." Okay, so that's what I did. I went there, and that was how I became a home health aide.
Family has always been at the heart of Cami's life, and her commitment to Bob remains unwavering. Though they live separately, her dedication to him is clear.
So when Bob and I committed to one another many, many years ago, this was my ring, and this reminds me that I am still committed to this man. This ring is my birthstone, and inside it says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." And so I'm committed to this man, and I'm committed to this man, and it's just a constant reminder on my hand until the end. Last summer, we took a trip to Chippewa Falls, and we went to a zoo, and Bob just connected with hyenas.
They got to liking me, so I got them down and I could get them down on the ground with me, and they would roll back up and they'd just run back and forth, we would.
And the zookeeper even commented that she said, I have never seen the hyena ever respond to somebody like they did him.
Animals come up to me. No matter where I go,
Yeah.
an animal will come up to me. I don't know why.
They just know you're a safe person.
On Valentine's Day, we opened up a box of memories. We open this box maybe every 3 or 4 years, but this time it hit me so hard. We come to my apartment and we sit down, and the box is huge. It's like this and this deep, and it's every card Bob has ever given me, every little trinket from the last 25 years. And when Bob writes in a card, he writes and uses all the space. But what I realized this Valentine's Day is that I have been so busy caring and doing and caring for him that I forgot about the man who so passionately swept me off my feet that many years ago. And so the emotion that it brought up was, that's who he was. But you know, that's who he still is. This is the card from Bob, and I don't know what year it was, but this is when he could write what he wrote. Cami, the princess of my life, and the one and only one that fills my life with joy. I want you to know how special, really special you are for putting up with me and loving me no matter what. I love all the little things you do, your smile when you don't feel like smiling, you being yourself, trying to help with me and the girls at work. You are so much to so many people around you. Sometimes you don't even know what you do. And you get tired, but you just keep on going like that Energizer bunny. But your life with me is great, and your love, like mine, is always safe together. Thank you for what you do and who you are. Never change. Love always. With all my heart, Bob. Just reminds me of who he was and still is in here. In 2016, when Bob was diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment, and I saw his personality changing, I saw everything changing with him, I had to make a decision whether I was going to stay with him or apply for my own apartment. I applied for my own apartment, and it was 5 years before I was able to get one. It was very difficult not knowing what was going on with him, and how I approached him was, we're not separating, we're just getting more living space. We're still going to have dinners together, we're still doing everything together, we're committed to one another, but we're just having more space. And I think that was a misconception that some people had, thinking that I was abandoning him. And I said, no, I'm still available to him 24/7. I honestly don't know if living together with your person who has memory loss is easier or living separate. I just called, and he's having a tough time now, and he's having trouble getting the words out. And then he yells, I just wish I would die. I'm tired of doing this. And I said, you've got to do these to prevent blindness. And he said, I don't care. I don't care if I go blind.
Generally, the most significant contributors to stress for caregivers do tend to be these behavioral issues that occur for the person living with dementia, ranging from asking the same question over and over, to wandering, to potentially even aggressive verbal and or physical behavior. Taken together, these behavioral issues can cause a great deal of stress on the part of families, and a key element to intervention and support for family caregivers is helping them identify what are potential triggers to behaviors, and then two, how to cope with behaviors once they occur. that often takes a lot of work. It's challenging for families, particularly when families maybe don't necessarily fully grasp the notion that behaviors are really due to Alzheimer's. They're not due to some personal issue, emotional issue, etc. And helping families get to that point and then developing a plan to approach and effectively address and or manage behaviors is, I would argue, a core element of good caregiving support.
The stress level on some days I will get, or I could get 23 phone calls in a day. And you're ready to throw the phone out the window by that time, but they can't help it because they can't remember, you know, but the stress, I have migraines, I live in chronic stress in my body, but I still push forward and you have to do it, there's nobody else to do it. My responsibilities on a daily basis are, I'd start in the morning and Bob calls me and checks in with me, and then I call my mom and check in with my mom to make sure she's okay. And then at supper time, I'm very busy because I prepare supper for both of them, my mom and Bob, Monday through Friday.
Okay, so all of these meals are cooked in this space.
Yes, in my little easy bake oven. You can't even get 2 big pans on here because there's only 1 big burner. But I do it 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday. I cook for Mom, I cook for Bob, and then I deliver Mom's. I call Bob, he comes up and gets his, and we're good to go. I am so blessed to be in the same apartment building as, you know, Bob is on 1st floor, Mom is on 2nd floor, I'm on the 3rd floor, and it works. I do not have to get out in the winter time and start my car and deliver meals to one and the other. We're all here. So with that, I always count my blessings, and I'm very, very grateful.
Every day I count my blessings that you are willing to take care of all my needs. I try to do as much as I can because I know that you have a million things to do every day on your schedule. And even with the pain that you are in, so often you still help me. Thank you. With my love that could reach the moon and the stars. That's how my daughter is. She does everything for me. I get meals on flip-flops, not meals on wheels, but meals on flip-flops.
In the 9 years that I've been caregiving, I feel like it's like a finely oiled machine. It just keeps on going. But every now and then you get something in there that throws you off, and then you have to deal with that. But my community here is with my mom living on 2nd floor. She's been here 27 years. And then my auntie across the hall and Bob on the 1st floor. I'm hoping to keep all of them here. That's my intention, is not to have them go anywhere and to care for them as long as I can. And people always ask me, well, how are you going to do that? What if, what if, what if? And I say, well, I will cross what if when those things come.
Cami's goal has always been to keep both Bob and her mom close by so she can care for them together. Donna was diagnosed with terminal breast cancer, and this changed the trajectory of what her care looked like.
My mom had thought she had breast cancer for 4 years, and she never told me. Go figure. And so one day she was going to the hospital and for a different unrelated situation, and she says, I have to tell you something. I have breast cancer. And I said, how did you know? You've never gone to the doctor. And so she told me that. And so then we said, well, let's go get it officially diagnosed. And so we did. And immediately after that, the oncologist said, we're going to set you up with hospice. And within days, hospice was calling and set up. And it has now been 13 months Mom has been on hospice.
My hospice caregiver, I love her. Oh, she is so good. She just takes care of me. I can count on her. I can call her anytime and, tell her something's going on. And she would be right here.
Donna, what's different this week? Anything different?
I'm just going slower, and
Slower and like you're just tired? You just feel
tired, yeah.
Okay. But your appetite is good?
My appetite is very good.
Everything else is
Yes.
normal with you?
I'm snacking
Okay.
at 11:30, yeah,
Okay.
at night.
Okay. That's normal.
That's the,
That's
my hand.
normal. Donna, as a person to work with, is very easy. I really don't have to do anything for her. She doesn't ask for anything. She pretty much takes care of herself. It's just a joy to come and visit with her. And the whole team fights over who's going to come next time. Because we love her poems, and she's so, Donna is so positive. You know, she is just so positive and has such a will to live and brings such joy to everybody that she meets.
Even with the demands of caregiving for both Bob and Donna, Cami knows the importance of taking care of herself. Cami, who takes care of Cami?
Good question. I have found little ways to take care of myself. I can take care of myself through maybe little pedicures every now and then. I enjoy reading. I'm still able to go and have lunch or dinner with friends. So I can still get out at this point in life.
Okay, so are you ever in the kitchen for you?
Oh, I am in the kitchen big time for me. My therapy is in this kitchen, Melissa. When I'm really stressed out, I love to bake. So baking is, and I love to eat. But then I share it with people in the building. I share it with Mom, I share it with Bob, I share it with Auntie, I share it with my mom's neighbor. So of course, yeah, it's great therapy. The meetings I attend are monthly caregivers meetings, and without them, I think I would lose my mind, because we are all like-minded sitting around the table. We're all going through different phases of this journey of memory care, of memory loss, of life.
Self-care is also a great challenge for caregivers because there's an element, I think, sometimes of guilt. If a caregiver feels like they're doing something good for themselves or fun for themselves, they feel guilty if they're not bringing their person with them or sharing in that moment with their person. So at most of our group meetings, we do touch on what are you doing for yourself, because self-care is so important. We want our caregivers to make sure that they are as healthy, holistically healthy as they can be, and that makes them, in turn, to be able to provide more support in a healthy way for the person that they're providing care for.
As we go around in the support group and people are able to share, and especially if they've had a really hard, challenging month, Mimi and I will make it a point to say, how are you taking care of yourself? And so they're almost like in the hot seat until, you know, they can come up with something, which I think makes them stop and think, oh, this is pretty critical. And then the group can step in and maybe offer some suggestions. But self-care is really critical. And we talk about, you know, when the caregiver gets sick, then what? So it really hits home with people that self-care is certainly a priority.
Cami understands that self-care is essential, especially as she navigates this challenging journey. Yet the reality of her mom being in hospice brings its own emotional weight.
There are two types of grief that I am going through together. One is anticipatory grief, and as a dual caregiver, this is the first time I heard about this. Anticipatory grief is when a loved one who has a terminal illness but hasn't died yet, and you see them losing little bits and pieces each day as they're getting close to the end. Then there's disenfranchised grief, and that's when you're grieving the loss of their memory of someone who's still alive. And you see them grieving because they're aware of what they can't do anymore. And it is so hard, and I'm dealing with both of these griefs at the same time as my mom has cancer.
Has Donna talked to you about being on hospice?
Oh, yes. Oh, you should hear our conversations. And about passing on to the next dimension. Oh, yes, we understand that very, very well.
It's one step closer to meeting, to leaving, and I'm not sad about that because it's no fun anymore when you can't go someplace without worrying about what you have to do. You know, I get a shot in the eye, which I can still see. I can still walk with my walker, but it'll be nice to be, to leave, to be with my mom and dad and my nephew who's gone. It'll be sad to leave Cami, but she feels like I do, that Mom will be out of her pain. Mom will be free.
My mom has lived a really good life, and she always tells me she's lived a good life and that she's ready to go. I respected her decision by never going in to get this diagnosed. And I asked her, why didn't you tell me? And she said, I didn't want you to feel like you wanted me to go. And I said, I would have respected those feelings. And so we've discussed this journey openly for a long time. We talked about death when she was healthy. And so we've always had an open mind towards death. It's part of life.
Every time it's sad. I feel like, you know, end of life is sad. But I think if the family, I think that's where hospice is so vital, because we prepare the family as a unit for what's going to come. And we sit and talk with the patients. We have grievance counselors that'll just come and listen. You know, they'll just come and listen and help patients to get over any kind of anxiety that they have. Personally, as a hospice nurse, I kind of equate myself to a birthing nurse, because they help the patient to come in. I'm helping them to go out, to go to be reborn. So I feel like at the end of life, if you came in with love and you can go out with love, isn't that what it's all about? And so that's what we try to achieve, is let that person know that they're cared for, that they're respected, and they're going out with love.
I went up and stayed with my mom, and I spent the night at the hospice facility for the last several nights. And it was absolutely amazing escorting her out. I've never been around anybody that has passed before. And I told my mom, Mom, you were there when I took my first breath, and I will be there when you take your last.
Wow. Oh.
And as an only child,
Yes.
it was just her and me. And it was absolutely beautiful, the most beautiful thing I think I've ever gone through.
If I should go anytime soon, don't be sad. Look over the moon. So close I will be, never forget, I lived this long with no regret. My life was good, in fact it was great. How lucky I was that this was my fate. To be blessed with a mom and dad so fair and kind, and a brother and sister as nice as you can find. A daughter who you can't beat, and a niece who is just as neat. My grandsons turned out to be good men, just as though they were heaven sent. Also a great nephew and niece. How could I now not rest in peace?
What do you think the future looks like? What are you hoping for the future?
The future? I'm not sure really about that. Right now I'm doing good, and I'm enjoying my life in my times, you know.
Do you think about what you're going to do when you're in your mother's position?
Honestly, I just pray and ask God, when Bob's gone, please take me home. Because even though I have sons, they're raising little ones and they've got lives. And my mom used to say as a caregiver, Cami, don't do this. Put me in a nursing home. I don't want you taking care of me. Funny, her mother was a caregiver, my mother was a caregiver, and now here I am a caregiver. So no, I don't know. I will just go to the nursing home. And I'm good with that. I don't want to put this on my kids.
Call Cami.
At the end of the day, Bob and I will call one another, and he'll usually call me at 8 p.m. and say, are you ready to sing? And then he sings a song to me, and we both sing Good Night, Sweetheart. It's very special, and we've been doing this for a long time.
And
many more. I love you.
I love you too, buddy.
Sweet dreams, honey.
Bye.
Good night.
Cami's story is a poignant reminder of the emotional complexity that comes with supporting loved ones through illness. Cami's commitment to both her mother and her partner showcase the strength and resilience that many caregivers embody. Next week, we'll meet Jerry and Darlene, an inspiring couple in their 80s, facing different health issues and the endless tasks of home ownership. Join us as we explore their story, tackling the tough conversations about independence and the realities of aging.
Production of Inside Senior Living is made possible by Eldermark Senior Living Software, Helmuth & Johnson, Lotus Pharmacy, and Kickernick Gallery.